Would you do Jalen Brown for Zion and Herb Jones?
I get Herb Jones too?
Well, Zion for Jalen Brown's a no, right? Straight up, if you're Boston. Oh, look at you. Look at him.
I think you and I are on the higher end of Zion believers. There was two different points of his career where he was doing stuff I'd never seen before from somebody with his body and his size and his profile. And both of us were like, I think you and I were about as focused on it as any non-Pelicans fans for like, do you guys realize what's happening right now? It was like, this guy is completely unguardable. I just worry that he got the contract already and he doesn't seem to have any sort of maturity at all. Like at all. And if he was playing for something, I would feel better about it. But the fact that he already has the money makes me really nervous because we've seen this a few times. I would probably say no, but man, I would have a 3-hour meeting with my staff. Only because I've made 5 conference finals in 7 years. And I don't know, would you do it?
No, I probably wouldn't. And by the way, just for everybody that's going to because I can already see they proposed a trade that didn't even go if you'll allow us the flexibility of knowing that other contract filler will be thrown into some of these things, even if the parameters of the deal, look, if Boston and New Orleans wanted to figure out a Zion Jalen Brown deal, they probably could figure one out.
After July 1st, it gets a lot easier too.
Well, not on the bigger number stuff. Like the new CBA, it actually is tougher to match up the salaries in the new one.
But it could be Zion and Herb Jones for Jalen Brown and Gallinari, and you could get basically exactly the same numbers.
Well, you probably have to add more on the New Orleans side. So maybe anyway, look. So if you allow us the creativity of giving you the main points without having to whatever. So okay, but here's the thing: like Jalen Brown going to the Pelicans solves their Zion problem immediately. And if you're Boston, whatever you think of them now, and even kind of on the Phoenix thing, one of my number one things that I'll do is I'll look at what you're doing and go, okay, does this at least give you a chance? Does this give you a chance to compete for a championship? And that's not a long list of the teams. And as disappointing as Boston's losses to Miami, they go into next year still having a legitimate chance to win an NBA championship. And messing with that and breaking that up, despite the flaws, like every other team, I wouldn't be in a hurry to mess with that. So if I'm Boston, I'd still say no, despite it. You would have some real moments being like, what? Imagine if we get Zion and he figures it out. But again, that's a huge, he's played 114 games in 4 years. Played 29 games
and has had
year.
A couple of major injuries and just does not seem like he can stay in shape. Yeah, I did a thing on my pod 6 weeks ago about the Almost Club. How long is a window for a team before you just kind of have to go, we got to try something different. We can't get over the hump. And it does feel like the Celtics are either there this season or they're one season away. If it doesn't happen for them next season, at some point you just got to go, look, man, this has been 80% of a decade. We got to do something. We can't just be let's run it back. I'm mailing you this trade because it's complicated, just so you look at it. I just texted it to you. It's a Zion trade. It involves New Orleans and Charlotte and Houston.
Okay.
And here's the trade.
Thank you for sending these to me because now I can look at it as you're saying it. Appreciate it.
Houston gets Zion Williamson and the number 27 pick. Charlotte gets the number 4 pick, Jalen Green and Kira Lewis. So they move back 2 spots and they get Jalen Green. New Orleans gets the number 2 pick and Terry Rozier and first-round picks from Brooklyn in 24 and 26. So basically, they flip Zion into number 2, Terry Rozier, and 2 Brooklyn firsts. Charlotte moves back 2 spots, picks up Jalen Green. Houston rolls the dice with Zion. They sign James Harden, and they go to war next year with James Harden and then Zion, which I think would be unbelievable for the restaurants in the Houston area. But would also be
all the service industries.
All the service industries, huge win. The waiters, other people. Zion and Harden together would be kind of unbelievable. I don't know what version of Harden we're getting, but I also wonder if they're getting Harden at all, which makes me wonder, do you just say fuck it and take a swing?
I don't know if this is true or not, but they said there's an in-game, you know how like during the breaks in a game and they play the videos and they ask like NBA players trivia questions or like, you know, who's the best on the team at this and who's the worst. I think there's one of Zion. I've been told this, but I haven't seen it, so I don't know. But the in-game thing, it's like, what are your favorite road trips? And he says Houston and Atlanta.
Okay.
So
he'd be happy.
Right. So he'd be happy. The part of the Zion thing is that he's actually, despite how frustrating it's been, he's their star in a market that has a really hard time keeping them or enticing anyone to go there.
So you take Scoot, who is, by all counts, a fucking grown-up right away, who's going to work his ass off, who is going to will himself to be an awesome NBA player, and you basically change your culture overnight with a guy who's like, I'm going to fucking kill myself to be your superstar versus the guy they have now. So again, Charlotte, can we just go one at a time? If you're Charlotte, would you move back 2 spots and you get Jalen Green out of it?
Probably. Well, no,
So
I take Scoot. I take Scoot because, but the whole thing is, you know what? To say in a vacuum, I'm only moving 2 spots back, and to do that, I add Jalen Green. But moving 2 spots back now moves, despite the fact that draft history is going to tell us that there's going to be somebody that goes after 5 that maybe is better than one of the guys that goes in the top 3. Probably not the guy that's number 1. But I like Scoot. Okay, we're both Scoot guys. We've been saying it for a few weeks now, at least. I don't know that I'd want to give up the chance of having Scoot for Jalen Green, who, despite his talent, I think is a high points guy on a team that just let him take a million shots, that he and Kevin Porter just got to shoot the whole time.
I agree with you. I would rather have Scoot, but I could also talk myself into this trade because I feel like I could get somebody awesome at number 4. And I'm getting 2 swings at the talent apple with Jalen Green and number 4 versus 1. Houston, I would just do it. Like, fine. Well, I'm giving up Jalen Green and 2 Brooklyn firsts and number 27. Sign me up. And then New Orleans gets the culture changer in Scoot. This is a fun one. Let's take a break, and then I have a couple more to throw you.
So we definitely said no. Then we said no. We said
no, but it's fun.
Who's leading the charge on the no there? New Orleans?
No, I think New Orleans does that. I think New Orleans is the most psyched. Yeah. They get number 2 and Terry Rozier and 2 firsts. I'm doing that. I'm taking Scoot. I'm delighted.
That was a really good one because you're looking at Houston saying, all right, you missed out. I think Houston would say yes to that in 2 seconds.
I think they would too.